great to be with you here today. I want to start by asking you a couple of questions. My first question is there anybody in your life that you've ever wanted to be? I know with myself, I always wanted to be Magic Johnson from the LA Lakers. I used to watch video after video of him, the way he moved up and down the court and the way he passed and the way he shot. And, so I built my game around him. I'd dribble like him. I'd do the no-look pass like him. I did everything I could be to be like Magic Johnson. Of course, I was never 6'9" and probably not quite as good as him, but everything that I wanted to be was like Magic Johnson. I wonder who it is that you wanted to be like when maybe you were growing up. The other question I got to ask is have you ever been mistaken for anybody? Does anybody think that you're somebody else? Like, for instance, we know that Jodie quite often gets mistaken for Princess Mary. She looks like her. Joe, when he was younger, used to get mistaken for Tom Hanks, obviously in the Splash and the big movie days, when he was younger. Wendy Brooke gets mistaken for Audrey Hepburn. My favourite, of course, is Matt King. He gets mistaken for Macaulay Culkin and Chatham Tannen, whatever his name is. I can't see it myself, but, people mistake him for that. I've never had any really cool people I've been mistaken for. And probably the most famous guy, I reckon his name is Heston Blumenthal. He's a chef. I looked him up. He's got red hair and big black glasses and no beard. I can't imagine why I look like him, but people say I do. The main one I get mistaken for is people say to me, "Hey man, you look like my brother Nick. You look like my uncle Guido or my cousin Con." I don't know why people think I look like an Italian or a Greek. But there you go, they're the ones I get mistaken for. So no cool ones like Macaulay Culkin, but yeah, I do get mistaken for people. Of late, a lot of people have been saying to me, I look a lot like my dad. As I've got older, there's a resemblance thing going on there, and my mannerisms and the way I talk and telling the same weird jokes that my dad used to say and that sort of thing. Obviously, his grumpiness I get from my dad, and obviously his ravishing good looks comes from my dad. Now, it makes sense, doesn't it, that people would think I look like my dad. I was born into the Downing family. I grew up watching him interact with people and talk with people and saw his mannerisms, heard all those jokes. I saw the way Dad acted with people, so it only makes sense that when people see me, they see the image of my father reflected through who I am, because he's in my DNA and I'm in his DNA. So it makes sense. A person I've never been told I look like is Jesus, which is a bit of a worry to me. As Christians, we should reflect Jesus. People have said that they've seen the Father's heart in some of the things that I've done over my life, which is nice. But it's fleeting, it's not all the time. But I've never been told that I look like Jesus. Our job as Christians is to reflect the Father. In 2 Corinthians 3:18, it tells us this. It says, "And we are all with unveiled face beholding the glory of the Lord, and being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another. From this comes from the Father, who is the Spirit." I was reading a story the other day about a silversmith. It goes a bit like this. A woman watched a silversmith as he heated a piece of silver over the fire. He explained to refine silver he needed to hold it where the flames were the hottest to burn away all the impurities. The silversmith said that he had to watch the silver carefully because if it was left even a moment too long in the flames, it would be destroyed. The woman was silent for a moment, then she said, "But how do you know when the silver is refined?" And the silversmith said, "That's easy, when I can see my image reflected in it." Like the silversmith looking into that precious metal, God desires to see him reflected in our lives. The very minute that we were saved, we became new creatures. And we should be constantly changing in his image and reflecting his image to others. Ephesians 4:22-24 tells us the goal of every Christian. It says to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds. And to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. As followers of Christ, we must reflect our God so that others may become followers of Christ. The disciples were known as followers and disciples of Christ, weren't they? Peter who was the rock on which the church was built, was 3 times recognised by 3 different people on separate occasions to be a follower of Christ. And Paul, who wrote most of the or a lot of the New Testament, he said he urged us to imitate him as he imitates the Father. Now, this wasn't done out of arrogance. This was done because he knew what he was following. He had this closeness with Jesus, and he knew what he was following was worthwhile. And that's really important. Is what we're portraying, is what image reflecting out of us worth following? People will learn to deal with conflict, encourage others, evangelize and so on because of what they see us doing, more than because of what they have heard us say about the topic. Today is this: are you walking closely to the Father? Like me, do you need to spend more time in the Word, more time praying, and more time seeking God's will more than our wants? Are you constantly trying to become more like the Father so the others around you might see the Father? Let me encourage you today, find like-minded people, people who want more from their Christian walk, who want to get closer to God, who want to reflect the image of God in everything we do. So when people see us, when people see you, they see the Father. Get around people like that who help you going to achieve that. And then once you've done that, get around people who aren't as far along the journey as you. Get beside them and bring them along with you too, so that they can grow into the image of God, so that they can share their faith with people. Wherever you go, let your life imitate that of the Father, so that others may see it and come to know Jesus too. That should be all of our goal, to bring people to the Lord. So I just want to share that with you. I want to say, bless you. Look after yourselves during COVID. We'll be seeing you soon. Make sure you're ringing one another and caring for one another, and take care. God bless.